And we are back shortly after the finishing of our first game between Black River and Wellington. Now we have the hosting Firelands Falcons as well as Keystone, as we are now underway. Keystone got it started with a big passing play on offense. They now find themselves in a 2nd and long after an incomplete pass. And now we'll run through a couple of those rosters here. Jared's going to give you the Keystone team.
Keystone's roster looks like this: Braden Reed, Miles Durante, Sawyer Holman, Brentley Spanos, Ryan Weasley, Barrett Pycraft, Rocco Durante, Davin Bettler, James Pycraft, Grayson Showalter, Leo Taylor, Connor Smith, Mark Jacobs, Kevin Weegley, Benjamin Rideout, Kyle DeVore, Colton Flanagan, Brian Joner Jr., Mallory Griggs, Levi DeVore, Logan Shepard, Carter Ford, Jacob Gensch, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Grady Bolek.
So those are your Keystone Wildcats here this afternoon. And over on the Firelands side, we'll get into that in a moment, as Keystone now dealing with some penalty trouble. We saw that in the first game. Set up for a 2nd and 20, and the ball is out. And it looks like Firelands is going to fall on that. The 21 of Andrew Draga, who was a very common name in last year's Junior LC8 season.
And Davin Belter, the quarterback for Keystone, not able to make a smooth transaction and handoff for the Wildcats, and a costly turnover, our first turnover of the day here in week 1 of the LC8. And the Firelands have great field position to start their first drive of the game.
So now that will turn the ball over to this Firelands offense, and we'll get to see them for the first time after a great, and I believe it was Draga who had both the strip and the recovery on that one. So now Keystone will try to adjust defensively, and he is set up here. That's going to be the quarterback, number 3 of Hunter McGuire. Now cutting upfield for a 1-yard gain for the Falcons is the halfback there, Branson Boos. As we'll jump into a few more of those Falcons names you'll be hearing this afternoon. Calvin Cooley, number 1, Bentley Carpenter, and number 2, Hunter McGuire, as well as Landon Shepard and Andrew Brubaker. Also got Emilio Contreras, Sam Lingas, also Micah Hoban, Gavin Rosario, Braylon Allen, and then there's also Rory Seawright, Gavin Jones, Andrew, also called Drew Draga, and then Damian Klingman. And we'll continue with the rest of those in a moment, as we're now back for 2nd and 9. As this one will be a handoff around the side to Boos as he cuts it upfield and picks up the first down for the Falcons.
Great run by Boos on that left side. Burst of speed, moves the chains for the Firelands. Their first down of the game.
So now Liam Brown continuing the roster of the Falcons. Liam Brown at number 24. Also Harrison Leonhardt. There's also Julian DiFilippo. Cooper Varndale. Chase Kendall. Case Rittenauer, moving on down, James Norton, Jackson McCracken, Kenneth Putnam, Abram Tobicash, Tyler Adkins, Dominic Snyder. There's also Charles Norton, Carter Kohler, Liam Salter, and Wyatt Kisner. And those are your Falcons here in the 5th and 6th grade Junior LC8 team this season. You're going to see the quarterback keep that around the left side there for the Falcons. And like in the first game, we've seen each team try to hit the edge.
Both games so far, like the run game, Keystone airing it out a little bit more than what Black River and Wellington did. And we'll see if the Firelands follow suit here as well, trying to air it out more. I do truly believe if these teams can get the passing game, they'll have better success. They'll have more points than our first game.
And with that in mind, we are around 5.5 minutes to go on a running clock here, as we've seen these teams be willing to be patient, take their time, and this time maybe a little too long, as the coaches will call a timeout as the play clock was getting a little low there. So we'll take one with them. So far, with 5:17 to go here in this first quarter, we are scoreless in your Firelands versus Keystone game, the second of our doubleheader here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we are back here on the Lorain County Sports Network, bringing you Firelands and Keystone. The Falcons having the ball right now, but they're going to lose some yardage there on that play. Great hit up front by the Wildcats to cause a loss of yards.
And great defensive stop here on this first drive for the Wildcats defense, pushing the Firelands back to a 3rd and long.
And that front line, it's going to be a great, normally you might say, oh, great chess match, but here they're going to be slugging it out on that front line as there are some very large players out there for both sides. And we'll see if that battle, how that wages, who that goes in favor of. Right now, 3rd and 13. Maybe we see some of that passing game you were talking about earlier, possibly seeing, Jared.
We'll see if Hunter McGuire can do just that.
So now man in motion. That's going to be the 42 of James Norton. Now a sweep around the left side and cutting upfield, but still not getting back to the line of scrimmage is Harrison Leonhardt, bringing up a 4th down.
And a great stop by James Pycraft. Able to force 4th down and long. We'll see if the Firelands elect a 25-yard punt. And it looks like they do.
As we now see the officials swapping out the footballs. As you said, they will move it towards the, likely to be the 18-yard line or so. Well, maybe, I think my math might be a little off there. We'll see them at the 13. Well, check that, the 12. So we just keep finding Keystone starting a little bit further back, and we saw that a few times in the first game where each of the teams had to start pretty deep in their own territory, and now we'll see how Keystone responds to that.
Keystone had a big play on their first drive. A nice passing play to Brentley Spanos in that first drive. See if they can build off of that here on their second one.
See a man coming in motion, the 18 of Connor Smith, as he finishes his motion. And he'll be a lead blocker as it's a quick pass out to the right side for the Wildcats. And at the end of that play, the ball came out. Brentley Spanos on the receiving end, but he was ruled down.
And looks like Spanos is the #1 receiving target for this Wildcats. Looks like him and Davin Bettler are 2 peas in a pod to start off this first half.
Certainly have been, and we'll see if that trend continues. Here's they've got a long way to go now at their 17-yard line. Long way to go to the end zone, that is. Just 4 yards away from a first down. As now they'll set up in the pistol formation, snap back, and it's going to be handed off around the left side. And that's going to go to Camden Weegley, who's around the edge, gets the first down and much more, dragged down from behind, but not after. A huge pickup there on 2nd down.
We've seen in both games so far here today, Max, both teams getting big chunk runs with holes down the left side and right side, and a big gain there for Keystone, almost reaching midfield.
And you got that right. They did a great job setting the edge there. And now, with the clock running, we're under 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter of our second game. And Keystone wasting no time getting up to the line of scrimmage. We'll have a 2-receiver look out on either side of the formation. And now Keystone setting up 1st and 10. Dropping back and a quick out route. That's a great connection from Davin Belter over to his receiver, Benjamin Rideout.
It seems like early here in the game, Max, the Keystone likes to do a lot of quick, short passes. We already see one screen pass, and now that out route. I think if you're the Firelands, you've got to expect that going on for the rest of this game.
And, they've done a great job spreading it out to a lot of different targets, getting multiple players involved here and warming them up early here in the early portion of this game.
And sometimes that works for a team. Short, quick passes. You don't always have to throw the long ball. As long as you can move the chains, chew the clock off, and get in the end zone, that's all that matters.
That's exactly right, and they've done a good job staying ahead of those chains here in the early going. As we're at 40 seconds and counting here, and the snap is rolled back, and that's going to lead to a quick pick up and throw from Belter. And a great job after these catches as he's going to spin out of a tackle. That's Brentley Spanos, and he'll get another first down for the Wildcats.
What a great first quarter for Spanos. Breaking off tackles, fighting for that extra yardage, and he's got another first down for his team.
So they move into plus territory, the 41 to be exact. Breaking the huddle, and we'll see the skill position guys hang out a little bit longer, make sure they're all on the same page, which proved to be very important when you're able to in that first game, and limiting the mistakes. Now snap back, and there's a delayed handoff. And, a good tackle attempt there to blow up the play by the one of Callan Cooley for Firelands.
But it looks like there's a hold on Keystone, so it will get called back. And with 7 seconds left in the first quarter, Keystone will have a chance for one more play, but it'll be 1st and 20.
Now we will see how they respond. Also, interesting. Firelands will choose to decline that, so they'll choose to move the down ahead one further, making it 2nd and 10. And we'll also have the clock run here, which will bring an end to our opening quarter of game number 2 in our doubleheader this afternoon. Your current score, the Falcons of Firelands and Keystone tied up at 0 here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we're back here for the start of the second quarter here in our junior LC8 football doubleheader between Firelands and Keystone, tied up at 0. And none of this would be possible without our great sponsors. Just to remind you who's making this possible: Jamie's Carpet Shop, shopping made simple. Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson, also Semperfi Plumbing. Brian Baker for commissioner on November 5th. And we got a deep ball, and that's going to be a catch brought in by Keystone, the 22 of... My goodness, what a route and catch by Benjamin Rideout.
And what a great pass by the Keystone quarterback, Davin Bettler. That's his second deep ball of the game. He's not afraid to go downfield. He's not afraid of that big play and throw it up in the air. And Keystone clicking offensively with the pass game. The best passing game we've seen so far out of the short LC8 season between our LC8 teams.
And as you said, Belter, he's getting in a rhythm right now, and it doesn't matter who he's throwing to. They're going for a great gain and just a wonderful play to open the second quarter. So now we'll see Keystone come to the line, 1st and 10, just outside of the red zone. Belter sending a man in motion. So he'll take the snap and he'll throw it out to the 17 of Leo Taylor, who cuts upfield. It looks like he's on a fast track to the pylon, but no, he'll be dragged down after a first down.
And great block on those left sides by Keystone, led by Connor Smith with that big block on the outside. And Keystone getting a rhythm here, Max, going with those short, quick passes. Another successful screen pass. And they're flying down the gridiron.
That it was, and Gavin Rosario there for Firelands saving what likely would have been a touchdown. But you mentioned it, the blocking and also the scheming is brilliant there, bringing him in motion to become a blocker, so he's already getting some momentum heading into that.
We had Keystone's high school last night against the Northwestern Huskies, and they also had some great blocks. So Keystone known for their blocking no matter the age group.
As it just seems to be a Keystone affair. And now on this play, we are going to see Drew Draga blow up this play in the backfield and stop it for no gain, as Camden Weegley just could not escape the big fella's grasp.
And that's the first negative play for the Wildcats in quite some time. Let's see if they're able to respond.
So now, as they did get into a goal-to-go situation, but that knocks them outside of the 10-yard line, just at the 11. So with 7 minutes to go here, plenty of time to operate in this red zone, but they'll go 5 wide, sending 3 receivers, pistol formation with 1 in the backfield. And now Belter rolling out left, looking for what he can. He's just going to cut up, and he's scrambling ahead, jumping through defenders as he's going to be stacked up and brought down just short of the end zone.
And that was a great job by Belter to turn nothing into something. He was trying to look for his receiver, Leo Taylor, downfield, but wasn't able to connect. And that's what's great about a dual-threat quarterback, able to scramble out of the pocket and gain yardage for your team, put your team in the best situation. And we'll see what Firelands can do here with their red zone defense. It's only week 1, but you want to see where your defense is, especially in the red zone early in the season, so you can build off of it.
So now from the 1-yard line, he got right on the doorstep. But that will change in a flash, as that's a false start here for Keystone, sending them back to the 6-yard line. So it will be 3rd and goal from a little bit further away. I think you bring up a great point with these. A lot of youth quarterbacks are also great athletes, and what we've seen today, we haven't seen them put the ball in harm's way very often, whether you want to look at the first game or now to open this one. Just good decision-making, taking what the defense is giving them. So
I think we're seeing that a lot more nowadays, and in football in general, a lot of quarterbacks running more often to get yardage for their team, put them in the best situation to move the chains to get a score.
And we may see that here as Belter's going to roll out left on the run, and he does throw it into coverage, and that's going to be picked off in the end zone. But just as we were talking about the decision-making, he throws it right at the 12 of Braylon Allen. And we did have a flag, but it was on the offense, so it will be declined. And Firelands' defense, like you said, they gain their confidence standing tall here in the middle of the second quarter.
And that's a big stop for the Firelands in the red zone, and now they're able to get their offense going, hopefully march down the field and get the first score of this game. But only thing that they didn't do was knee it in the end zone to get a touchback. So instead of starting at the 20, they're going to have to start at their own 5.
And that could prove to be costly, but either way, the Falcons will set up on offense as they send their group back out there. And I'm sure the coaches have something ready. You tend to see teams like to go for a big shock play after a turnover and maybe catch the opposing side sleeping, but not sure this deep into their own territory we'll get a look at that or not.
Both teams have a turnover here in this first half, and as a young quarterback, you got to learn not to force throws. Just take the sack sometimes. You don't want to force turnovers. And at an older age, you could have gone for the 3 points there and have a 3-0 lead.
Certainly. And right there, rolling left across his body, it would have been tough to pull off either way. But here we go from the 5. Firelands coming to the line. So we'll get to see their offense once again. Spread out with one receiver either side, a wing back to the left and a halfback that's going to get the ball after it was picked up off the ground. That's going to be the 7 of Branson Boost getting around the left side, dragged down around the 20.
And another hold, this time against the Firelands. And the common pattern we've seen here so far in the short season of the LC8 in week 1, a lot of holding penalties. And that's something that the kids are still just learning. You know, they'll have to figure that out in practice next week.
It becomes a more common instance on a sweep play, and we've seen a lot of, because you want to do whatever you can to get these kids in space when you do have great athletes.
So you want to create that lane in that hole for your running back so he can run right down the field and score some points.
So we'll see Firelands get another shot to do just that here, but this time in the shadow of their own goalpost, setting up from the 2. Still first down here with 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Shotgun snap is back. It's going to be right at that goal line. Did he escape the grasp? And I don't know. That's going to be close.
I think with forward progress, they're going to mark him at the 1. So it won't be a safety for Keystone.
I'll tell you what, it took a great effort from Boost there to maintain that goal line just outside the goal line, helping preserve 2 points on the scoreboard for Keystone. So now we will see Hunter McGuire running the play back to the huddle. Just under 4 minutes remaining here until halftime. And us being able to see how much time is left, that is a big thank you going over to Stephanie, who is operating the scoreboard here in the Firelands Falcons Stadium and in the press box.
You did forget to do that earlier.
You were very right, because she has been here helping us out for both games. So big thank you to her. Also, Sam Sovacool on production, keeping us moving along. And also, we've got Paul Williams on the camera. Now, it looks like we got a timeout on the field from one of the teams, I believe. Looks like Firelands.
Firelands took the timeout, yes.
So they definitely want to discuss a little bit further before going for another shot out of their own 1 yard line. And while they discuss that, I mean, we have got to remind you how our first game ended up, as that was our opener for this junior LC8 football season, where Black River and Wellington played one right down to the final seconds, ending in a 6-6 tie. So that'll certainly probably impact the standings later on into the season before heading into playoffs. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're in week 1 here with Firelands returning to the field on offense. Pitch out. Boost gets it, and he's going to cut around the left side. Follow some blockers. He's being pulled down by a defender, but that's more than enough for a Firelands first down.
And that was a great job by Branson Boost, able to cut inside, break one tackle, have a burst of speed through the middle, and get the first down for the Falcons.
And it was a much-needed one as well, being able to get some breathing room now, and they can kind of operate more like they would be accustomed to, rather than just sticking to a run play, because you almost have to.
And we're going to see throughout the season how both these teams operate. We're going to have Firelands and Keystone next week at Black River. We're also going to have them in week 3 at Vermilion. So we're going to get very familiarized with these teams' offense and see how they operate.
That's right. It'll be interesting to see the week-to-week progression. And right here, no progression in gaining yards, as that was the 47 of Keystone. Great tackle in the backfield by Levi DeVore.
And he just burst through the seam straight up to the middle and able to get the sack and the loss for the Keystone Wildcats. First sack of the game for them.
That's right, and it came at a critical time here, as we're now just over 2 minutes to go on a running clock, and what started with plenty of time to work with, no matter how far back in your own end you were, now you might have to see Firelands turn on some urgency here to get some points before halftime. So now, this time we'll see 5 wide, as in the backfield by himself will be McGuire, and gets it out quick. And it looks like they will say that one's incomplete.
That pass was intended for Emilio Contreras. Little quick slant route there, but his quarterback threw it a little bit too early, wasn't looking, and that forced an incompletion.
I mean, Carter Ford for Keystone right in the vicinity there, almost getting his hands on. He did get his hands on it, but almost flipping the field and changing possession. It appeared it appeared to him that he caught it, but the officials did not agree. So now we'll have a 3rd and long here for Firelands. Minute and a half to go on a running clock. And we will have the official signaling over to another official, maybe someone in the neutral zone, getting them out of there. And getting out of there right now is the 7 of Branson Boos, picking up a quality game, but it will not be enough for the first down.
There was still a great run by the Falcons, blocking on that right side, creating that hole for Boos, and getting a great amount of gain for the Falcons, and it's 4th and short, and you're pinned up back near the end zone. Do you go for it here in 4th and 3 or elect the 25-yard punt? I think head coach Matt DiFilippo is going to roll the dice here and go for it.
It is interesting because now with a minute remaining, we'll have to see, because if you did punt it, you'd get it close to around midfield for Keystone, which we've seen them be able to go up top a few times, and maybe he's concerned that that would be enough. That'd be close enough for them to go make something happen.
Especially Keystone having 2 big plays already up to this point, with the first half winding down.
And we'll see. Oh, they got them with the hard count. Great job by McGuire there for the Falcons as he drew several Wildcats offsides. So now stoppage in play to move it 5 yards ahead. And now with 30 seconds to go here in the first half, even if it doesn't result in points at the end of this drive for Firelands, it keeps that Keystone offense off the field. So now from the 32, we'll see the officials motion to begin the game clock, and snap is back. Who else? Branson Boos going to get it. Makes a couple men miss as he's going to go up ahead along that sideline and pick up maybe 6 or 7. Another penalty, and this one results in a face mask, so big movement here happening before halftime for the Falcons offense.
And a costly penalty by Keystone. Haven't seen a lot of face mask penalties here early in week 1 of high school and the LC8. But a costly penalty for Keystone, and that's going to move the Falcons towards midfield. They'll be able to get 1 playoff before the end of this first half.
So now we will see them moving the clock as the Falcons move towards the ball. 5 wide. Probably know what they're going to do here as McGuire loads up, throws it deep, and that's caught. Extending for that one is Branson Boos, being a playmaker in both the backfield and out at receiver.
But another flag is down. And it looks like an ineligible man downfield for the Falcons. Let's get the official call. And that is the call. Costly penalty for the Falcons.
Tough break there as they were able to get past midfield originally. But, you know, sometimes if your defender starts drifting downfield, instinct is to go with him, not let him get out of your grasp. But right there, just that'll come. That time will come where you just stay put. So after the penalty, Firelands will take a timeout. We'll take one as well, as they try to talk over their strategy here with 5 seconds to go in a tied up at 0 apiece ball game here between the Firelands Falcons and the visiting Keystone Wildcats. When we come back, we'll have the closing of the second quarter here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we're back here on the Lorain County Sports Network before halftime, as we'll get the play in and then we'll remind you who is making all of this possible and why you're able to see the future of the Friday Night Lights here on YouTube. So now Firelands will get in their stance, and they're going to end the half with a run, as that's going around the left side. 26 of Firelands to close out the half, as that will be Harrison Leonhardt with a few yards on the pickup, but that will bring an end to the first half. And before we head to the break, we'll just remind you who's the reason we can do this.
We want to thank you to all our sponsors making this possible: Jamie's Carpet Shop, LZ Prosecutor JT Tomlinson, Semper FI Plumbing, Brian Baker for Commissioner, Chris Kep of Sylvans, Zasbo Apparel, and Rich Resendez.
So those are our lovely sponsors making it possible for us to come out here each and every Saturday of the fall for Junior LC8 football. And speaking of that, we're tied at 0 heading into the half between our second of our doubleheader of Firelands and Keystone. We'll step aside for a moment, come back, and Rate the Dog is typically a Friday night segment. Well, we were fortunate enough to receive a couple of hot dogs, so maybe we'll give you a look at how great the Firelands concession stand is. But until then, you've been listening to the first half here of the Lorain County Sports Network coverage of Junior LCA football. We'll be back in a moment. And we are back here, almost ready for the start of the third quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Here on Saturday afternoon, your home for junior LC8 football coverage, as we're in the middle of our second game in our doubleheader this afternoon, as Firelands and Keystone played a competitive first half there. And we don't have any scores to recap for you just yet, but still a very entertaining first half, Jared.
Both teams have had promising drives, big offensive plays, and for their first game of the year, their first half of the season, they have some light at the end of the tunnel, especially defensively as well, both getting one turnover in that first half. So we'll see if they can build off of this and either team can take a lead and get a score.
That's right. As solid as the offenses have been, the defenses have stepped up at crucial times, and most notably at the end of the half there, Firelands being able to pick up an interception deep in their own end and just were able to run out that clock to prevent any damage being done.
And that's the best part of a solid defense is the red zone defense. Doing that in the red zone, Keystone on their own 3-yard line and able to get a big stop. Or it could be 6-0 at least right now for Keystone.
That's right. At least one touchdown taken off the board there, as the two teams are finishing up their warm-ups here before the third quarter gets underway. Each getting some high knees in and probably some karaoke's and a few other things, but we can look ahead to some of our matchups for next week that you can find right here on the Lorain County Sports Network.
For next week on the Lorain County Sports Network for the junior LC8, we'll be in Black River. Black River will take on this Firelands team you see here, and this Keystone team will take on Columbia. Following that, week 3 will be in Vermilion. Brookside will be taking on Keystone, and the Firelands will be taking on Wellington, who we saw earlier in game number 1. Game 1s for those weekends start at 3 o'clock, while the second game starts at 4:30. Pending how long the games go for, but those are the pending start times.
That's right. We had a very competitive first game, ending in a 6-0 tie between Black River and Wellington, so you never know what you're going to get here on a Saturday afternoon. As it looks like we do know, though, that this third quarter will get underway very shortly, as I believe we will see Firelands coming out on offense first, where we got to see a heavy dose of one Branson Boos, as he was probably their main playmaker for the Falcons in that first half.
Branson Boos, and then also Hunter McGuire had some good throws deep down the field, the quarterback for the Falcons. So we'll see if they can build off of this and get their first score of the season.
And that's right. That reminds me. I mean, how could I forget? I think just being at a game last night has me not realizing. But yes, this is week 1 for everybody. So we're looking for a lot of firsts out here this afternoon. As we'll have 9 minutes on the clock as both teams now take to the field. Firelands kicking off this first drive of the third quarter on offense. Hunter McGuire in the shotgun, surveying his offense at the moment, as they may have one extra Falcon on the field, as he will trot off now. Micah Hoban heading back to the sideline. And they continue to make sure they're aligned correctly, which is important. We did see a couple early snaps in the first half that resulted in mistakes. So now with everybody in place, Boos will catch it on a pitch as he tries to fight his way through several defenders. And he maybe will get not to the line of scrimmage, actually. Wow, great hit.
Great hit indeed, especially by number 7, Brentley Spanos on that tackle. Really stopped the tracks of Branson Boos.
We've seen Spanos all over the field, and whether it's at receiver or now in his position in the secondary at corner, he has been an impact player for sure here in week 1. So now that sets up 2nd and 11 from the 34. As Firelands breaks the huddle as they head to the line in the pistol this time, as Boos will set up behind McGuire, and they'll have an H-back to their right. Now, that late communication caused for concern for Firelands and leads to a timeout from the coaching staff as they appear to want to get on the same page. As I do believe the official made the timeout signal, but every player's staying on the field, so they may...
I think they only had 10 players on the field. That's why Firelands head coach Matt DiFilippo called a timeout, because they only had 10 instead of 11.
So this won't result in a fully convening timeout as a team, but rather to help save them a penalty. Now the officials will get us underway here. We'll see a motion across the formation. That's by James Norton, as he will lead the way blocking, as that's where the play will go. And great job weaving through blockers and defenders that time by the Falcons running back, giving them a third and manageable.
That was Gavin Rosario on the play, and like you said, Max, bobbing and weaving, zigzagging left and right, and a big gain there by Rosario and this Falcons offense.
As now that brings up a 3rd and 4 from their own 41. Just over 7 minutes remaining on a running clock here in a tied ball game where we haven't seen any points yet, but both teams looking to change that here in the early goings of the second half. We'll see those Falcons approach, and Keystone currently in a nickel package to match this look on offense from Firelands, as they attempt to get everybody in place. And now McGuire will pull Boost up next to him, and he will follow him through the hole, but he's chased down from behind, and that's going to be a great hit by the 21 of Camden Weegley. That's going to result in 4th down now for Firelands.
There's nothing much Hunter McGuire could do there, the quarterback for Firelands. And it looks like they're going to elect to go for it here. Not quite at midfield yet, but it looks like head coach Matt DiFilippo wants to go for it. A big risk here to start this second half for the Falcons.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of confidence in their players by these coaches today, and that will continue here on this 4th down as we get under 6 minutes to go. McGuire and Boost communicating for a moment there. Now they are set in place. Here we go, 4th down and 4, and the snap comes back. Maybe he was trying to do a hard count either way. It's going to be picked up by Boost, trying to get around the outside, cuts back left, and he's digging himself a hole here, but he gets out of that tackle, and he's heading towards the 30, finally taken down, but that could result in a horse collar.
And I believe it is going to be a horse collar tackle on Keystone. I believe that was committed by Carter Ford.
Oh, face mask.
They call a face mask, but either way, a personal foul, 15 yards, and an automatic 1st down for the Falcons. What looked like disaster, worst case scenario, turned out to be the best case scenario for their offense and for this drive. And they'll have a fresh set of downs.
And a great job there by Branson Boost to that was an alert heads-up play. I mean, my goodness, he probably covered around 50 yards there and showed a lot of toughness to get as many as he could back. And if you're Keystone there, you almost just, I'm not saying you let him pass, but he still had quite a way to go for that 1st down. You got to assume your guys are going to rally to the ball. So
you got to know the situation. You got to know the yardage and the time on the clock and the score. And Keystone just made that big mistake that could cost him this game.
It now results in 1st and 10 from the 46-yard line, as this handoff will go to the H-back as he's dragging defenders forward. That's going to be Gavin Rosario as he gets a positive pickup there and gets them past midfield.
Rosario is so quick and light on his feet, able to bob and weave in just like that. Cut one way, cut the other, and able to get some extra yardage in the Keystone Wildcats defenders missing. It's special.
And I think that in combination with he's shorter than most of the linemen out there, I don't think those Keystone linebackers can get eyes on him until he's right in front of them. So now we're at 2nd and 5, 4.5 minutes to go here with the clock moving in the 3rd quarter. Still tied up at 0. Each team looking to get on the board, and Firelands having one of their most successful drives here in this game so far.
Best drive the Firelands Falcons have had up to this point. Even though they still have a long way to go, they're building off of this drive each and every play.
You got to be feeling confident, and now quarterback will be on his own and then handed to the H-back once again, as that's going to be around the left side, and Rosario brought down at the line of scrimmage, but flags from two different officials on that play.
And I believe that is another face mask. Let's see if they call it from the official. And indeed that is a face mask. And second face mask of this drive for Keystone. 33 yards for the Falcons.
And that's a wonderful break there for Firelands, as now Keystone, I was going to say, has to be a timeout called. Two coaches are out on the field for the Wildcats, so as they reconvene and figure out how to get a stop here, we'll step aside as well with 3:55 remaining in a 0-0 ball game right here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we are back here in the mid-third quarter of our second of our doubleheader here on the Lorain County Sports Network for Junior LC8 football on its opening weekend. Excited to be along with you as Firelands on second and short will hand it off, and that's going to be Gavin Rosario taking it around the right side, breaks out of one tackler. He could be on his way to the end zone. He breaks through another. Touchdown, Falcons. My goodness, a 45-yard scamper there for the little fella, and he gets them on the board.
And I talked about it earlier, Max. Beaving and wobbing his way through the Keystone defenders in that burst of speed down the sideline on the right side, and he gets the first score of the season and touchdown for the Falcons.
Wow, and not only showing off the speed, which he clearly has in abundance, but also broke through a couple of tacklers there. I mean, what a run, and what a way to get on the board and, like you said, establish that first touchdown score of the season. And now that forces Keystone to have to respond. But before that,
and the Falcons, who started from their own 35 to start this half, go down the distance, 65 yards. Do it the hard way, but they get on the board.
They certainly do, and now they'll have a chance to add to that here, as they will go for one from the 3-yard line. They're going to hand it off around the edge, but just no chance of that play going anywhere, as that's going to be the big 21 of Camden Weegley, who just, for some of these plays, is living in the backfield.
And there was a hold called on the Falcons, but obviously Keystone will decline that.
That they will, and that will keep us at a familiar sight, 6-0. Like our first game started with the first score. And we got 3.5 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Where now we'll see the Keystone offense again for the first time here this half. And we saw a bit of success and also a few mistakes that kept them off the scoreboard in the first half. So we'll see if they're able to respond. Now, interesting here, Firelands, one of their best defenders, Drew Drake, is going to exit the game. So we'll see how Keystone chooses to attack. In the pistol formation are the Wildcats. Two receivers split out either side, starting at their own 35. Passes rolled back, and on that one, wise decision there by Belter to just fall on it, not let the Firelands Falcons get any damage further.
And so far early in this week 1 season of the LCA, a lot of teams struggling with the snap.
And I got to wonder if some of these teams that like the shotgun and pistol look, if they're going to have any under center options. Now, this one goes from the shotgun. A lot more successful here. As we just talked about him on defense, Camden Weegley moves the chains.
What a great one by Weekley, and a great start for Keystone, trying to respond off the Firelands touchdown. Great run to start this second half for the Wildcats.
That's exactly what they needed, and we've seen them do a lot of damage in chunk plays through the air right there. Do it on the ground, and it's a great way to respond after the low snap on the first play of the drive. Now that we've got Belter giving a little more communication to his favorite receiving target so far, Brentley Spanos. And it's two wide either side. And it's a straight drop back. And he's going to throw it the direction of Spanos. Ball's tipped up, and he almost hauled it in off of the deflection. And we're going to see some flexing done right there by the Firelands Falcons, Emilio Contreras.
And that was man coverage. That was intended for Brentley Spanos. And unfortunately, Belter didn't throw it down the field so Spanos could continue his route. He had to stop and try to come back and catch that ball. And off the deflection, if Spanos would have caught that, he would have been off to the races, and I think that would have been 6 for the Wildcats.
That would have been something. The hand-eye coordination to even realize it was still in the air, but great job by Contreras to get in the middle of him in the football. So now we'll have second down, another drop back, and he'll go to the other side of the field. This time it's along the sideline. Great catch. Hauled in that time by the 17 for Keystone, and that's going to be Leo Taylor.
And that was a great job by Belter to thread the needle in between the defenders, split them, and get the first down. And Belter really feels comfortable in the pocket. Out of the 4 teams we've seen in the opening week for the LC8, he seems the most comfortable to air it out, go downfield.
He does appear to be comfortable back there, and that offensive line doing a good job giving him time to do so. And that sets it up on the 36-yard line in plus territory for Keystone. 1st and 10, minute 40 to go here in the third quarter. As we'll likely see them in this look often, as Firelands has had some trouble stopping it. This time, turn and hand it off, and that's going to be a solid. Oh, he breaks out of a tackle. Shot out of a cannon there on that second burst is Weegley as he moves the chains once again.
And Keystone clicking on all cylinders here. 3 straight positive plays.
You can tell they probably had some adjustments. As even though they didn't start the half with the ball, they definitely had some adjustments to make during halftime, and we're seeing them play out right now.
Whatever they're doing is working. It's clicking for them, and it all starts with Davin Belter, the quarterback, and the running back, Cameron Weekley.
So now from the 23-yard line, a minute exactly and counting to go here in the third quarter. We'll see what Firelands has in store as they have multiple defenders in the secondary to try to defend this pass. Belter goes over the middle, and it goes through the hands, off the chest of a Falcons defender. So that one into some extra coverage that time.
And Belter was looking to his right, saw that no one was open, but he had Brentley Spanos way downfield, wide open, didn't see him on that left side, and threw it dangerously across the middle, almost an interception.
It's a tough break there, is when you look back in film, you'll certainly see, he's gonna want that one back, and instead, Kenneth Putnam for Firelands was able to break that up and bring up second down and 10. So now they'll go back to what's been reliable as Weegley goes up the middle, just carrying Falcons defenders along with him. He's going to be close to another first down. They'll give it to him just outside the 10.
And Weegley does a great job. As soon as he receives that handoff from Belter, he does a burst of speed, and he flies through the gridiron down the field. Quickness from both running backs today from both teams.
You're right. It doesn't appear to be much hesitation. It's one cut and go, and it's certainly doing the trick right now for Keystone.
Rosario did it with the Falcons with their touchdown, and now Wheelie's doing that same exact thing.
We're under 20 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, and Keystone in position for the second time in the red zone this game. We'll see if they can turn it into points here as Belter immediately has to roll out left, and he's just going to throw that one away as there was hot pursuit from several Firelands Falcons.
And that was a good decision by Belter, throw away, not giving up the sack, not forcing an intentional grounding penalty, and not making a dumb throw, maybe causing a turnover.
We did see an interception last time they were in the red zone, so a very quick learner as it appears not electing to throw that one into coverage, and now we'll have 9 seconds remaining here before we get into the fourth quarter.
We saw the Falcons' red zone defense. Let's see if the Wildcats' red zone offense can click here and tie the game up.
And this time Weegley will get it as he hits a wall, trying to drive it forward, but he's not going anywhere on the final play of the third quarter. When we come back, we'll see what Keystone has in store for a 3rd and long from the 10. You're listening to the Lorain County Sports Network. And we're back here for the fourth quarter of our finale to our doubleheader this afternoon between Firelands and Keystone, where the hosting Falcons hold a 6-0 lead, but Keystone in position to possibly tie it up. And low snap, and I think there were a couple Wildcats moving before that was complete anyway.
Jumped the gun there, and costly for the Wildcats, now on their 14-yard line.
So a tough break, and we'd seen a pretty clean third quarter from both sides, but now this all-important 3rd down becomes a little bit tougher. But with the passing attack as potent as it's been, perhaps this will give more room for Keystone to work with. So now we'll see Belter in the shotgun, takes it, and we have another penalty, just a procedural penalty on back-to-back plays, and that's something they'll certainly look to clean up next week in practice.
And if you're Keystone here, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Your best opportunity to score of the game, and you're only pushing yourself back. You got to think you got to score here.
That's right. You cannot come away with nothing, as it's been a huge effort to even get to this point, and now it's just 8:52 left in the ball game. This could prove to be one of their last few possessions on offense. Now he catches the snap one hand. He's going to throw it up with pressure in his face. Turning and catching. What a job by Brentley Spanos to see that in the air. And he runs it in for the 19-yard touchdown catch and run.
Great precision by Davin Belter, throwing it over the shoulder. Perfect spiral, perfect aim, an even better catch by Brentley Spanos. And now the Wildcats have tied it, threatening a 2-point conversion.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. He was not fazed at all with the pressure coming at him. You would have assumed that throw was from a clean pocket, and it went just over the Firelands defender's head. And now, interestingly enough, we will see them go from the 5 for 2.
And we talked about that at the opening, Max. Keystone not afraid to air it out. It seems like out of the 4 teams we've seen so far in the LC8, they're the ones that like to pass it the most. They're not afraid to go downfield, take that risk. And Davin Belter looks really comfortable in the pocket for the Wildcats.
Certainly does. That chemistry with his receivers is also showing, even despite it just being week 1. So now they'll have a man in motion coming at him. They'll fake it to him. He'll drop back. Got a man wide open, but it's jumped in front of. Great breakup that time. It looked like he did have an option downfield, but Right there, Julian DiFilippo, coach's son, I believe, was there to break it up. And now that won't break up this tie. 6-6 between Firelands and Keystone. We'll step aside as they switch sides, and we'll be right back here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We are back here live from Firelands High School Stadium, where the hosting Falcons will now look to respond to Keystone's touchdown that tied the ball game up here at 6 apiece with 8:40 to go in the fourth quarter. And the play clock is ticking, and there is some miscommunication, some confusion, which you never want to see out of a break like that for Firelands, as something along their offensive line was not on the same page, and they're forced to burn a timeout, which could come back to bite them. We'll see. We'll keep it here as just came back from the break. But now it feels like it's been a little while since we've seen this Firelands offense, and the likes of Branson Boos as well as their quarterback Hunter McGuire, both likely to be key cogs in breaking this tie.
We'll see if the Falcons can respond. Keystone was able to respond off the Falcons score. Let's see if the Falcons can do the same thing.
So now it looks like their offensive line on the same page and setting their splits with a receiver split out either side and two almost wing backs on the side of either offensive tackle. Pistol formation for McGuire with Boos right behind him. He'll turn to hand it to him as he goes left. Getting through the initial line of scrimmage up to the second level. Maybe they'll give him around 4 or 5 yards there. So we're now officially under 8.5 minutes remaining in this final quarter of play in our Junior LC8 opening weekend doubleheader from Firelands High School. And can't forget why we're out here, obviously, to cover the future stars of Friday Night Lights, but also out here because of some great local businesses in the county, like Jamie's Carpet Shop, also Zabo Apparel, Rich Resendez for Sheriff in November, Chris Kepp of Slimans, Brian Baker for Commissioner, Semper Fi Plumbing, as well as Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Now on second and medium, they'll give it around the edge to Boos as he fights his way ahead for a Falcons first down.
This Falcon squad has some great running depth. Branson Boos and Gavin Rosario, both two peas in a pod, dynamic duo for the run game for the Falcons. And it's really been a chunk of their offensive success today against the Wildcats.
You got that right, and both somewhat undersized runners, but I think that just gives them more of a chip on their shoulder, and they're not lacking in speed, that's for sure.
We don't do it anymore, Max, but growth spurts are always at different times in different people's lives.
You're not wrong there, and certainly they're a few years away from Friday nights, but by that point we'll see an almost finished product. Right now, we're still working on putting together the end of this fourth quarter as we're just over 7 minutes to go on a running clock. Still tied up at 6 apiece here between the Falcons and Wildcats. Said Falcons will have a man in motion. Snap is back, and this time it will be Rosario getting the handoff there, and he's not going to get much as he had to fight through several Keystone defenders.
Yeah, nothing much Rosario could do there. Good stop there by Ryan Whistle.
So he initially blew up the play, and just now looking at second and long from their own 43-yard line, where they will reconvene in the huddle to go over their next play.
The Falcons have the time on their side. They can take as much time as they want, but gotta get downfield somehow to get the score and retake the lead.
We'll see if that can happen here, as the big play potential is there for this Firelands offense. Boos, a big reason for that, and he'll get the ball here, trying to get around to the left side, has to make a cut or two, and then drag down at the line of scrimmage by Keystone. That'll set up a 3rd and long here. Is now you almost got to assume they're in a passing situation. But before that, I do believe Boos is slow to get up after that hit. So while they tend to him, we will step aside, and when we come back, we'll bring you this 3rd and long from the Firelands Falcons in a 6-6 tie ball game between them and Keystone. You're listening to the Lorain County Sports Network. And now we see Gavin Rosario, Branson Boos, getting off the field there, the other ball carrier for Firelands, under his own power as we're back here in the 4th quarter. 3rd and long upcoming as Firelands will snap the ball back to McGuire. He puts it up, and that was going to be picked off. Great play in the air by the Keystone Wildcats. Barrett Pycraft. It's going to be 1st and 10.
Decision there by Hunter McGuire, trying to get it to his man downfield, just not enough oomph and power to get that throw to his receiver downfield. A costly turnover for the Falcons. And now Keystone in good field position to start this drive to potentially take their first lead of the ballgame.
That's right. Some of the best starting field position they've seen all afternoon. And not only did Pycraft adjust and get the interception, but also a great run back. Set them up at the 39 of Firelands as we're at 5.5 minutes remaining. So if they play this right, this could be one of the last offensive possessions, if not the last, of the game. On the other side, Firelands will have to respond as their front line has done a good job stifling Keystone for the time being. For most of the game, of course, giving up the touchdown late in the 3rd. But now we'll see Keystone come out with some confusion and be forced to call a timeout. So with that, each team will be down to just one timeout each for the remainder of this game, and we'll take one with them right here on the Lorain County Sports Network. And now with just 5 minutes left here in the ball game, we've got Keystone back on offense for the first play of this drive after getting the interception. And before we can get into that, we have a false start on Keystone coming out of a break. So that'll move the start of this drive back to the 44 for the Wildcats. Now, one of the last times out there, we did see that passing game come to life, and the connection of quarterback Belter over to his top receiver, Spanos, was very effective in that time. However, they will start with Weegley on the ground. He goes around the left side, trucking over a defender, but he is brought down and won't do any more damage. Good hit there. Or a good collision, I should say. Callan Cooley on the Falcons end.
Good job by Weegley to drive the shoulder in, get as much yards as possible, and Keystone making up for that false start penalty.
Very true, getting all the yards back there. Now with just over 4 minutes remaining here in the second game of our doubleheader. If you were just joining us for this one, Wellington and Black River ended in a 6-6 tie. Well, we're tied at 6 apiece right now. We'll see if this ends in a tie or if one of these teams can get on the board to take the lead. And heading around the left edge on the end around, that's going to be the 55 of Carter Ford down the sideline. He's going to outrun everybody. It looks like he may have been caught, but he said not a chance. And that's going to be a touchdown for the Wildcats.
What a great burst of speed and run by Carter Ford.
Whew.
And great block from that Keystone offensive line on that left side to create that hole and for Ford to keep breaking tackles, refusing to go down and get the score and the lead for Keystone.
So that one's going to result in a 39-yard run on the end around for Ford. Not only giving them the lead, but also 3:41 left here in the fourth quarter and going 4-2. So we'll see them put 3 receivers out to the right, including Ford. And Weegley to the left of Belter. Ford will come in motion. They'll fake to him. And now this time they're going to go up top and breaking that up. So very similar play call to the last 2-point conversion. And once again, for Firelands, the breakup done by Julian DiFilippo. Keeps that 12-6 ball game here. And now we'll see if Firelands can bounce back from the interception last drive. As not only do they want to avoid that, but now they need to, down by 6.
And with 3:41 left to go here in the fourth quarter, this is probably going to be the last drive and hope for the Falcons.
So with such little time remaining, they can still afford to operate in their regular style. But once they get to around that 2-minute mark, you've talked about before, Jared, they'll probably have to get into a 2-minute drill. I'm interested to see which athletes they have out there. There's no Gavin Rosario, who had the 45-yard touchdown earlier, but, of course, Branson Boos is out there, number 7, who's been a pretty good playmaker in his own right. They'll bring a man in motion as they'll hand it to him, and right away he has to make some defenders miss. And now that one, there's a fumble. The ball is out. And I believe it was picked up by one of the Falcons' linemen, so they will call the play dead after around a pickup of 1.
That was Emilio Contreras on the carry, and both Keystone defenders trying to strip that out. We're successful, not able to recover. That would have put the icing on the cake. The Falcons stay alive.
They get another chance here as we're just over 3 minutes to go on a running clock in the final quarter of play. And it looked like they wanted to try to take another run around the edge to the perimeter, but great job by Weegley at defensive end to make him cut it back up and into the teeth of that Wildcats defense.
And the Falcons, you only got 1 timeout left. You got to use it wisely with 2:40 and counting to go.
That is important to keep in mind here is now this time around the left side, Boos will take it, cutting around defenders, and he gets upfield past the 40 where he's dropped. So now we are moving into that dangerous territory of how much time remaining, and by the time that 2-minute mark hits, you probably hope to be past midfield, 20 seconds till then.
And they got to try to do short, quick passes, try to get out of bounds, out routes, a screen if you can. Falcons haven't passed it that much today, similar to Wellington Black River. Keystone really the big passing factors today here in week 1 of the LC8.
And it's been the difference so far as Keystone does lead 12-6 here in this matchup. Firelands getting on the same page, trying to make sure they're lined up legally. And now we'll see the motion, and that's going to go to Gavin Rosario, who's made some plays, but he's bottled up on that one, forcing a 4th down.
And now your Firelands, you got to go for it to extend this drive and keep your hopes alive.
And this is another component of junior LC8 football right here. The way you get the plays in, it usually doesn't change in a late part of the game like this. It does burn some time as they run the play in from the sideline. So now they'll have to move with urgency as they get to the ball.
They got 2 yards to go with a minute and 5 left. Not much time with the field position to get down the field.
That field position at their own 44 here for 4th and 1. As McGuire in the pistol with Rosario behind him. He's going to take it, go around the left side. He'll get enough, and he cuts back. Did he get out of bounds? Yes, he did. They will stop the clock and move the chains.
It was a good job by Rosario to cut on the outside, get the first down, get out of bounds, and get the chains moving and keep the drive alive for the Falcons.
That last part, very key, getting out of bounds. And now it will run, so it turns out they stopped the clock for the chains to move, but that cutback cost them as the clock will move. Setting up at their own 49. And that low snap led to a delayed handoff. Rosario cutting around, making a couple Wildcats miss, but it won't be enough as they'll now have to burn their last timeout. And we will take one with them as Firelands discusses their upcoming play here with 33 seconds remaining, trailing Keystone by 6 here in the 4th quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. And we're back here on the Lorain County Sports Network as we're approaching the end of the 4th quarter here from Firelands High School, where the junior Falcons may have their last drive here on offense to try to tie the game, trailing by 6. The Keystone, some confusion there on who was supposed to take the handoff, and it leads to a tackle for loss. Brutal happening right there for the offense.
And Camden Weegley and Levi DeVore all over that one.
They were very aggressive shooting upfield, and now it's 3rd and long. 10 seconds remaining and counting. This could be the final play of the game as we're going to see him, McGuire, load up, go deep, throw it over everybody's head, so won't be the last play as 4 seconds do remain. That was key that he got it out as quickly as he did.
And they're going to have to go with the Hail Mary play to try to tie this game up.
We could see how much he's got in his arm, and before we get that, Keystone going to make sure they're on the same page heading in to this Hail Mary or Trickery play event. So we will join them for one last break. When we come back, we'll bring you the conclusion here of Keystone and Firelands. We're back here for likely the last play of this Saturday afternoon on the Lorain County Sports Network in our coverage of junior LC8 football, where Keystone will look to defend a likely last-ditch effort by Firelands, as we're going to see McGuire, the quarterback, rolling out, throwing it up, and it is caught. So that will be a big chunk of yards there. Maybe the ball came out, but that's going to do it either way. Julian DiFilippo on the receiving end, and that's going to do it for the ball game. 12-6 final in favor of Keystone as they take this opener. We get to see our first win of the afternoon, Jared.
Yeah, first win of the LC8 season for not only us, but for Firelands, and it was a jam-packed Saturday afternoon. Got to see half of the conference in their opening week, and can't wait for week 2.
That's right, and in week 2, we will be heading to Black River Stadium as the Black River Pirates will take on this Firelands team you just saw, as well as Columbia in the game after that, taking on this Keystone team who just got the win. Quick little recap here for you in this 12-6 final, as it was started with a Gavin Rosario 45-yard touchdown run for Firelands, followed by back-to-back scores by Keystone. A 19-yard pass from Belter to Spanos, and then Carter Ford on a 39-yard run end around, which gave the Wildcats the 12-6 win. A few thank yous before we go. Stephanie on the scoreboard here from Firelands. Big thank you and shout out to her for keeping us informed and making us sound very good here on this broadcast. Also, color commentary partner Jared Viancourt. On production, Sam Sovacool keeping us on air, and Paul Williams on the camera getting us all the great shots of the field and the scoreboard here this afternoon. I'm Max Drummond. One final big thank you to all of you watching, and we can't wait to bring you more Junior LC8 action next week right here on the Lorain County Sports Network.